and treatment, training and empowerment, compliance, advocacy, and research. Let's celebrate our good health. My health is my wealth. I must live in good health. Good health. Let's all live it well. Health Minute. The global burden of disease study is the most authoritative assessment of how people are dying in every country in the world. The food we eat is putting 11 million of us into an early grave each year. An influential study shows the analysis in the Lancet found that our daily diet is a bigger killer than smoking and is now involved in 1 in 5 deaths around the world. I believe we all like salt. Now here's one striking research about salt intake. Whether in bread, soy sauce, or processed meals, shortened the highest number of lives. Limit your salt intake from today. Commit to the New Start program. Where New Start here, it's an acronym. N-E-W, New, S-C-A-R-T, start. Where N, it's nutrition. E is to exercise, stands for exercise. W is water. S is sunshine. T is temperance. A is air. R is rest. And T is trust in God. Out of which we had the acronym New Start. Thank you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe in the times in which we are, it is now the new normal. We just like we are doing now, we have virtual meetings. And basically there are do's and don'ts. And so respectfully, I humbly suggest that when you want to have the opportunity to talk, please raise your hand so that you'll be called upon. And if the speaker, the guest speaker, or somebody is making a contribution, please mute your microphone. Thank you very much. Okay. I have the singular honor to introduce our speaker, our guest speaker for today's meeting. Our guest speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is an MD, has an MD microbiology, MPhil microbiology, has a postgraduate diploma in clinical research, is working in a multinational company in pharmacovigilance department and has accumulated 20 years working experience. I believe this is the right person in the current situation to speak to us. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor to introduce to you Dr. Gayatri Vijay Kewalramani. Dr. Vijay, your audience, thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Moses, for a wonderful introduction. And I thank everybody for giving me this opportunity to talk on the very hot topic of the day, that is COVID vaccination. So let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Yeah. So I will be talking on COVID-19 vaccination. Basically, the key points which we all should know in today's world. Like what is COVID vaccine? What are different types of vaccines? Why we should take vaccine? Because we are hearing that the vaccine usually when you see when we developed any manufacturing industry or a pharma company, when they are developing vaccines, so from concept of that vaccine till it comes to market, it takes almost 2 years, minimum 2 years. But here, as we see that the vaccine, COVID-19 vaccines, different vaccines which are available in market, they are in market within 6 to 8 months. So everybody is worried, how come so early the vaccines are developed, whether manufacturers have looked into the safety of the data, safety of the vaccine or efficacy of the vaccine. So I will touch upon these points in today's talk. Okay. So why we should take vaccination? Why COVID vaccination is needed? Now here, as we all know, this is very deadly disease, especially for people who are elderly, people who have comorbidities. It produces very serious symptoms, and even a lot of deaths have occurred because of this. So if we take vaccine, so at least we will prevent, this vaccine will prevent us from becoming seriously ill or dying due to COVID-19 infection. It prevents the spreading of the COVID-19 virus. How it will prevent the infection of the COVID-19 virus? Because see, if everybody is getting vaccinated, the chances of getting infection is less. So this leads to less spread of the virus. And at the same time, when virus is spreading across the globe from one person to another, it is highly communicable disease. So the more it spreads, the more it mutates. And more it mutates, it becomes resistant to the available medications and the vaccines. So when most of the people are getting vaccinated, we generate herd immunity. That is, we prevent the spread of virus through this herd immunity. And also, because of this herd immunity, when people get infected, so when we say that we are getting vaccinated with COVID-19 vaccine, whatever our vaccines are available in market, none of the vaccines have 100% efficacy. So we can't say that if we get vaccinated, we will not get infected. We can get infected because see, the vaccination efficacy is in the range of 60 to 80% across all different vaccines which are available globally. So still we have chance of 20 to 40% of getting infected. So when we get infected and we are vaccinated, the severity of illness and the intensity of illness is very less, and death is almost 0%. So this helps in controlling the disease and also the spreading of the infection. These are the common vaccines which are available globally. You must all be aware of these names like Pfizer, Moderna, Covishield, Sputnik, then Janssen's COVID-19 vaccines. Then from China, we have two vaccines, Sinovac and Sinopharm. And from India, we have Covaxin. So how they are prepared, like how these vaccines are manufactured. So vaccines is nothing but the virus particles, different parts of the virus particle. So for example, if you look at Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, they are made from RNA of the virus. RNA is nothing but the genetic material which is present within the virus. So they use RNA while preparing these vaccines. Now, for example, Covishield, Sputnik, or COVID-19 Janssen vaccine. These are vaccines in which they are using viral vectors. So what are viral vectors? Viral vectors are nothing but killed viruses which cannot cause any infection when introduced in the human beings, but they carry the virus particles, active virus particles from COVID-19 virus. And then Sinovac, Sinopharm and Covaxin. These are inactivated. So whole virus is inactivated, and that inactivated virus is not able to produce infection when it is introduced in the human body. So these are different types of vaccines which are globally available. So I'll just explain how does this vaccine works when it enters the human body. So I'll take an example of Covishield vaccine. So as I mentioned, it contains killed virus. So that we are using chimpanzee adenovirus, which is modified in such a way that it does not cause infection and does not cause any disease when it is introduced in human body. At the same time, from the SARS-CoV virus, that is the COVID-19 virus, you can see here it has spike proteins on the surface. So these spike proteins are genetically modified and introduced in this virus, that is adenovirus. So this is now ready to be introduced in the human body as a vaccine. So when it enters the body as a vaccine, it gets inoculated in various cells, and those cells then show up these proteins. That is the spike proteins which are present on the virus. And these spike proteins are as a foreign body in our body. So our immune system will produce antibodies against these spike proteins. So whenever in future, if any person gets infected, our body already has the protective mechanism in the form of these antibodies. This is how we get the infection can be prevented in future if a person is getting infected with COVID virus. So as you all must be knowing this, that all these vaccines which are marketed, none of the vaccine has complete safety data. So they are into the market based on the emergency use authorization given by various regulatory authorities like FDA, or in Europe, European Medicines Agency. In India, it is TCGI. So what is emergency use authorization? So whenever new vaccine is developed, it has to go through clinical trials. So first trials happen in animals and then in human beings. So in human beings, it goes through various phases of trials, like from phase 1 to phase 4. But what happens in emergency use authorization, because there is emergency situation created across the globe, there is these regulatory agency fast track the approval, and when phase 3 studies are towards the end of the at the end of the phase 3 studies, when almost thousands of people have received this vaccine and we have enough data to decide on the safety of the vaccine, at that time FDA or other regulatory authorities will give emergency use authorization of these vaccines depending upon the scientific data, and they will outweigh the benefits should outweigh the risk. This is how the product gets emergency use authorization. So it is not readily available with all the centers or with all the doctors, because it is under continuous monitoring. So there is a controlled availability of these vaccines. So currently all the vaccines which are available for COVID-19 are under emergency use authorization. Now, how it is distributed across. So the distribution of vaccines and the availability of vaccines is it varies across different countries and the requirements of the countries. So globally, basically they started with giving these vaccines to healthcare workers and other frontline workers who are at high risk of getting this infection. And the second group was high risk group, that is people over the age of 60 years that is elderly people and people with comorbid conditions like cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and other respiratory disease. So these are the first targets for the vaccines, and later on it will be given to the rest of the population. Now, why this high risk group is given vaccine first, and are not everybody is getting vaccines at one go? Because of two reasons. One, it is under emergency use authorization. So as I mentioned, we need to collect data on regular basis, and this safety data is still analyzed because we don't have enough safety data and enough efficacy data. And second reason is because in pandemic, huge population needs to be given this vaccine. So there is a lot of pressure on manufacturing industries also who are manufacturing these vaccines. So to control that, this is the government decide on the allocation depending on the different requirements of the country. Now, who is eligible for this vaccine? Who can take? So anybody who is 18 years of age and older is eligible for taking this vaccine. The contraindications means the vaccine should not be given to the people who have developed any allergic reaction previously to the vaccine, or have severe allergic reaction to any ingredient present in the vaccine. Now, you must be saying how we will come to know what ingredients are there in the vaccine. So whenever any individual goes for vaccine, they should inform the physician or the person who's taking history or who's registering about the illnesses or any allergies to the medicines which you have. So based on that information, they can decide whether you're eligible for taking that vaccine or not. And vaccine is given in 2 doses. At 28 days apart. Most of the vaccines are given in 2 doses, except Janssen. Janssen is given as 1 dose. So, and for all the vaccines, it is intramuscular route of administration. So there are various vaccines which are still under development, close to 50 vaccines which are in different phases of clinical trials. So they are still trying for vaccines given through nasal route. So there are few vaccines which can be given through nasal route, which are still in the developmental phase. So what are the advantages of giving vaccine through nasal route? So there are 2 advantages here. Once, you will avoid injection, which can lead to injection site infection or a pain, or there is induration at the injection site. So that can be avoided. Second thing, as we all know, that COVID infection, we get that infection, and virus enters mostly through the nose. So when we give nasal vaccine, it will produce antibodies locally in the nose, so the infection can be actually prevented. Otherwise, what happens when we are inoculating, the virus enters our body, it causes infection, but we have antibodies that can fight with the virus to prevent that infection. But if it is given through nasal route, we can prevent infection altogether from happening, because at the entry only there are antibodies which can fight with virus. So nasal route vaccines are going to be more promising as compared to intramuscular ones. So what are the side effects of the vaccines? So as we all know that we have been taking vaccination from early childhood, and even we take our children for vaccination. So the vaccine side effects are same. That is injection site pain, redness, swelling, or there is a fever, fatigue, headache, joint pain, muscle ache, feeling unwell. So these are a few side effects which happen any day from day 0 to day 3 of vaccination. And these can be easily treated at home by taking paracetamol or any other painkillers. So there is no scare till now. No severe side effects have been reported to the vaccines which are there in market. These are the simple ones which happen and can be easily treated. Now, what are the precautions which we need to take before taking any vaccination? So if you have any previous history of, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any previous history of anaphylaxis is an immediate shock after taking any medication. Then if there are any allergies to the drugs, so you need to consult your physicians that you are allergic to this particular medication, whether you're eligible for taking vaccine or not. In pregnancy and breastfeeding, so actually when clinical trials happened for all of these vaccines, none of the vaccines were tested in pregnancy and breastfeeding, but still, since it is in the emergency use authorization and we are continuously monitoring these vaccines, so it has been given to pregnant females, especially I think Pfizer vaccine has been given to pregnant females, and no side effects have been reported, but that safety data is very small. So we cannot judge that it will be 100% safe in pregnancy and breastfeeding. But if any pregnant lady who is at high risk of infection can be given this vaccine. In case of immunosuppressions or comorbidities like cancer, where patient is on chemotherapy, so this vaccine should be taken with caution. The patients need to consult their physicians because there are certain medications like chemotherapeutic agents which we need to stop before taking medication. So the duration of stopping that medication will vary depending on which medications person is on. So that is very important because that might react with vaccine and cause severe side effects. Patients who are on blood thinners also need to be taking these vaccines with great precautions, because if patients are on aspirin, that is fine. But if they are on other blood thinners, they need to consult their physicians. Physicians may decrease the dose or temporarily stop or change the medications when they want to take vaccinations. Patients undergoing any surgery or transplant procedures, again, the duration, you need to take vaccination before surgery. It will vary on type of surgery. For example, if you're undergoing simple cataract surgery, you need to stop, like you cannot be taking vaccination 2 weeks post surgery. Or any other, suppose patient is undergoing bone marrow transplant, the patient cannot take vaccination for at least 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks after bone marrow transplant. So various diseases and surgeries, various medications, all these comorbidities, they need to be discussed with your treating physician before you go ahead for vaccination. So that ends here. So takeaway message is these vaccines are really safe. Everybody should take it. The benefits are definitely more as compared to risk. So I would advise that everyone who is eligible, they should take the vaccine whenever you get a chance to take the vaccine. Thank you.
Moses, you can take over.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kewalramani. And so at this juncture, we have questions and answers. So anybody who has any question or any contribution, I think at this point, we'll give opportunity to those who have questions to raise their hands, and you'll be recognized and you can go ahead to ask a question. Thank you very much.
One question has been put up on the chat. You can read that. question. Moses, one question is there on the chat.
Say again. Hello.
I have put my question on the chat.
Arshad bhai, you can ask the question directly.
Yes.
I think someone has the question to ask.
Yeah. Gayatri.
Yes, sir.
It is said that Covishield has more efficacy if it is given after 60 to 90 days. Second dose is given after 60 to 90 days. Is it true? And if it is true, then should we wait till 60 or 90 days, or we should go for the second dose after 28 days? What is your opinion?
Yeah, so there are various studies, various literature articles you will see in which they say that the efficacy is more. But you know, that study is not done on enough number of patients to have that data introduced into the label. Like the label has yet not changed. Label means prescribing information of the drug has not yet changed. It says that 2 doses should be taken at 28 days apart. But there is no harm in waiting, because here also in India, there are many doctors who waited for at least 6 to 7 weeks to take their second dose. There is no harm in waiting up to 8 weeks also to take the second dose. But still, I would say as per the label, it is still 28 days. But there are various theories which have been put up in the literature, but still there is no confirmation on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, doctor. I think I can see Hannah. Hannah, do you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Dr.
please.
Vijay, for the insight. My question is, let's say I take the first dose, and then during the waiting period, I exhibit some kind of reaction, maybe like blood clotting, because I think yesterday I saw a news item where Germany is suspending the AstraZeneca vaccine because of issues with blood clotting. So in cases like this, for the second dose, can you take a different type of vaccine rather than the first one you take? Assuming you took the AstraZeneca and you reacted to it, the next time you take the Moderna?
No. So this is a thumb rule that the vaccine which you're taking for the first dose, the second dose should be the same vaccine. Okay, so at least when you're taking within 28 days interval. For your question, like if you get severe side effects, so if you're getting severe side effects like blood clots to the first dose, then second dose is not advisable. So which is that it is due to the vaccine, then second dose should not be taken of the same vaccine. But again, you cannot take another vaccine after 28 days as your second dose. Then you have to wait for at least 6 to 8 months to take a new vaccination again. Because we don't know for current vaccines how long the efficacy will last, because we have limited data on that. So there is no data that I cannot say today that if I'm taking vaccination 2 doses today, I will not get the immunity will last for 1 year or 2 years. So that kind of data we don't have. So it is advisable not to take second dose if you're getting very severe reactions to the first dose.
Mr. Dixit, you had a question.
Yes, I already put the question on chat box.
You can just speak it out.
Hello.
You can just ask your question directly.
If there is a person who is already infected and he is asymptomatic, and such type of person, if he took the first dose of the vaccine, what can be happen?
So if the patient is asymptomatic and but infected but asymptomatic, and the patient is taking first dose, because that person doesn't know that infection has already occurred, right? This is your question.
Yeah.
Okay. So See, the antibody, when person gets infected with any virus, our body produces antibodies against that virus. So that those antibodies will already be there in the body. And when you are getting vaccinated, there will be another antibodies which will produce, which will increase the load of your antibodies. So there are cases which have happened like this, but the reactions which happen, the side effects which happen in these patients are slightly on the higher side, like the allergic reactions or fever or whatever side effects the patient is prone to that vaccination. The intensity might increase, but there is no high risk, because those allergic reactions or any kind of infections what happened can be easily treated by consulting the physicians. There is no high risk of like a severe disease or death like that, because antibodies are already there in your body which are protective for you. Yeah, only the intensity of side effects might increase.
Okay, you have a question.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, please continue.
Yes, you can ask.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, go ahead.
Who takes yellow fever vaccine at the same time take COVID vaccine? Somebody wants to travel and needs yellow fever vaccine, and also they are demanding COVID. Yeah, is it possible?
No, as per the current data, what is available, this vaccine should not be given along with other vaccines, because still the safety is not available of combined vaccination given with COVID-19 vaccine. So it should be avoided. We don't have safety data on that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's one question on the
I think
chat.
Hannah has a question again.
I think there's one question in the chat. We'll look into that. Is it possible that if you eat all natural foods in its adequate quantities and have a strong immune system, you may not need to take the vaccine? What will be the opinion?
So how will you judge that your immune system is strong and it will be effective against COVID-19? So when we take vaccine, our immune system develops antibodies to that particular virus. So here, everybody, most of the healthy individuals have strong immune system, but this doesn't mean that when you get infected with the virus, your body will fight against it, but the severity of symptoms will be very high. So with your strong immune system, if you're taking this vaccine, and in future, if unfortunately, if you get infected, you will have very mild symptoms, or it will go unnoticed, like asymptomatic. So it is still important to take vaccination, because this is targeted towards the COVID-19. See what happens when you get vaccinated, your immune system produce antibodies against that antigen. So in future, when you again get infection with the same virus, it's a mechanism called immunological memory. So your immune system will remember, and it will produce more antibodies and fight against that infection. So that is how you will prevent the disease from spread. So it is advisable to take vaccine even if immune system is strong.
Anna?
Yes, thank you, Moses. Dr. Vijay, a follow-up question on the answer you just gave. In that case, if someone has already suffered COVID-19 virus, perhaps that person's body already has the antibodies. So what's the essence for the vaccine?
Yeah, so when anybody gets infected through the virus, see, we don't, as I mentioned to you again, we don't know the efficacy, like how long it will last. Say, for example, earlier we take say example of say measles. If person get infected through measles virus, so that immunity lasts longer. Once in a lifetime you get infected, say for chicken pox or smallpox. That was once in a lifetime we get infected, we get immunity because it lasts long. But here we don't have data. So we have seen cases getting infected within 2 weeks. See what happens. No, the virus keeps on mutating, and when virus mutates, their virulence also increases. That is, chances of causing infection and the severity of infection increases. So when you are vaccinated, at least that even if people get infected, the severity is very less. And the deaths are, as I mentioned earlier, deaths are negligible.
Okay, and talking about the virus mutating, do this current vaccine, the one we have now, the forerunners, the vaccines, do they not fight against the mutated variant of the virus?
So there is no data on that. Again, very few like in vitro studies they have done, which shows that AstraZeneca vaccine is effective against UK strain and South African strain. But again, it is very, very limited data on 30 to 40 patients. They have done some neutralizing antibody test. So confidently we cannot say, but we don't have any other vaccines available which will be particularly targeted to these mutated virus. So though we may not get 80% efficacy, what they are claiming for a particular virus for which the strain the vaccine was developed, but at least that 50% efficacy will be there. So it is again advisable to take the vaccine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Philip had a question.
Yes, thank you very much, Doc, for this wonderful presentation. I believe it has been very revealing, and I want to find out why is it that some of the vaccines have been labeled not to be used in certain part of the world, because I know that some of the vaccines that were sent to Africa were inscribed that they shouldn't be used in the US and Canada. Can you explain to us, is it because of maybe our various DNA structure, or there could be other reasons behind those disclaimers?
So I cannot comment on that right now, because the various vaccines, how they have developed from concept to phase 3 studies, as I mentioned. So what they have observed in animal studies, what they have observed in human beings when they have done this kind of trials. So it will be like easier for that particular company, or if you can give me certain example, I can find out and tell you. But right now I don't have this answer, because every vaccine is different. How it has come through a developmental phase, how in which kind of patients they have tested. So it varies across for all different vaccines. So if you have a certain example, like any particular vaccine which is not allowed in your region, I can find out and get back to you.
But a follow-up question: vaccines, are they the same for all manner of persons, or it differs based on race and color?
So for vaccines which are for pandemic viruses, no, they are usually same. It should not vary from different. But when virus mutates as now we have found new strains of Brazilian virus and South African strain. And if I am doing a particular, I am a Pfizer, I am doing a particular study, and when these mutated viruses have come up, and I'm sure that my vaccine will not be effective against South African virus, then I will ban my use of this vaccine in South Africa. But for pandemic, they don't look at any race or ethnicity when they develop this kind of vaccine. Because see, this virus is affecting everybody across the globe. And the vaccine is prepared from different parts of the virus only. So it should not be varying with race and ethnicity. Only it is like which strains are prevalent in areas, and I'm sure that my vaccine will not be effective against that strain, then I will not market my vaccine in that region. Hope this answers your question.
Yes, yes, it does. It does. Thank you very much.
Alchandra ji, boliye.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to ask you why the side effects are different among the person who get vaccinated. Severity may high or low, but why the symptoms of side effects are different. Some meet headache, some meet fever, some meet body pain. Why it should be same, no, in all the vaccinated person?
No, it cannot be same, because it is driven by your immune system. Say, for example, my immune system is able to produce antibodies. I'll just give you a rough number of 300 units. And your immune system is just able to produce antibodies of 20 units. So the side effects will be more in me as compared to you. So it is driven by the immune system, how your immune system is responding to that vaccine. If it is reactogenicity is high, shown on the higher side by my immune system, I will get more severe symptoms as compared. Somebody doesn't get nothing, they don't even get pain at the injection site. So that is driven by the immune system, your body, how your body is reacting to it.
But everybody is getting same dose, no? Whatever half ml, 1 ml, whatever is dose of that injection, particular vaccine is, it is everybody.
Yeah, everybody is getting same dose, but everybody's immune system is different. It varies. See, if you have taken vaccination, everybody's immune system is different. 2 weeks of second dose, go and do antibody test, then you will come to know like how much antibody your immune system is developing.
Okay.
So if you see in literature also, that ranges from 4 units to 400 plus units. So this is the variation in the immune system. If there are comorbid conditions, say for example diabetes or hypertension, a patient is very old, their immune system will be weak. They will produce very less number of antibodies and have less reactogenicity.
So the severity of the side effects also depends on the basic immune system.
Yeah, how that immune system is responding.
So it appears different in two patients or more infected patients. Vaccinated patients.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I got it. Thank you.
More questions. Moses, you can take it forward, please.
Hello.
Yes, Moses, you can take it forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We are very grateful for the opportunity. On behalf of ProHumane, On behalf of ProHumane, Afrique International, I would like to express our gratitude and appreciation to our guest speaker, Dr. Kewalramani. We are very grateful, and to all our participants, we say thank you very much for participating. Thank you very much. We are grateful. We have announcements. So thank you. Our next Zoom meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, 30th March 2021. And the meeting time is same. It starts at 5 p.m. and it will close at 6 p.m. So that's 17 hours GMT and ends at 18 hours GMT. And we are reminded that our meetings takes off every 2 weeks. We are most grateful. Please, you can follow us on our social media pages. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram and LinkedIn. And if you go to any of these sites, you just type ProHumane Afrique International and you'll be able to interact with us. We are most grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give me a drinking water.
Today's attendance was 30 with people joining us from 9 countries. And that's all from me. Baptista, you have anything to add, please?
No, please.
I think we can end the meeting.
Thank you.